Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Andy. Welcome to this week's Team Kentucky Update. We're going to start this week like we normally start, with some additional great economic development news for our Commonwealth. Today, we're going to talk about projects that contribute to the incredible 838 private sector new location and expansion projects so far in my administration that have created more than 43,700 full-time Kentucky jobs behind $24.7 billion in new private sector investment. To kick off our economic development news this week, I want to highlight the expansion of Lakeshore Learning Materials in Midway. Lakeshore is investing $27 million in the new facility, creating 40 new full-time jobs for Kentuckians. In previous partnership with Kentucky in 2016 and 2019, the company created 338 full-time positions in the state. Lakeshore is a developer of educational materials and classroom furniture and supplies. The company is expanding its presence in the Commonwealth by constructing a 360,000 square foot distribution facility to add to its 1 million square foot network in Woodford County. I am excited to see this company continue to grow. I'd like to thank them for their expansion. And anytime an existing company in Kentucky expands, it just shows that we're doing things right, that they have the confidence in our workforce, and that they know there's no better place to create jobs and do business than Kentucky. Next, I want to highlight an exciting project within our state's manufacturing sector. Beshear Incorporated announced this week that they will be expanding their operations in Fayette County with an $8.5 million investment that will create 14 new full-time, well-paying jobs. The project will see the company expand their operations by 35,000 feet, which will allow additional space to house manufacturing assets from Keystone and Emerson brand for the U.S. Navy markets. All manufacturing for these products, I love this part, is going to move from Emerson's Pasadena, Texas facility to Beshear's new factory in Lexington. Yes, Texas jobs moving to Kentucky. This is an exciting announcement, not just because of the investment and job numbers, but because it means we are building an economic foundation that allows homegrown companies like Beshear to thrive right here in the Commonwealth. Beshear has been a staple of our manufacturing industry for over 4 decades, and we are thrilled to continue to see them grow. I look forward to their continued success here in Kentucky. Next, I want to recap some news we talked about earlier in the week, and it's good news from our Cleaner Water program. On Tuesday, I announced the commitment of $32 million to 19 counties to update their water and sewer infrastructure. This investment will improve services to thousands of Kentucky homes and businesses, and it's going to bring water or sewer services to 511 homes for the first time ever. That's 511 Kentucky families that have never had access to clean drinking water, never been able to turn on the faucet like most of us can, that finally, in 2023, we are making it happen. This $32 million means that all $250 million in the round 2 funding has been allocated, and all 120 counties got successful grant applications in. The Cleaner Water program is a good program created in a good way. It's a good program because clean drinking water is a basic human right. And in just about every county, we still have unserved or underserved households, meaning they don't have that access to clean drinking water or reliable access to it. It means in some areas there's not enough pressure to successfully fight fires that might break out, or there's not the capacity for that next economic development project. It is a good program. It's also done it was created in a great way. And this was myself and the General Assembly hammering this out actually during COVID up in the Supreme Court chambers, where we could spread out a program where Frankfort didn't decide what local communities should do. They know what they need to do. And a program that brought county judges and mayors together in agreement from all 120 counties, not just in round 1, but in round 2 as well. I think this is a program that shows what we can do when we work together and we stop politicizing everything. I mean, water and wastewater aren't Democrat or Republican, they're water or wastewater. And just by focusing on what's better for our families, not right, not left, but moving forward, we jointly created a very special program. So I'm grateful, and I thank the General Assembly for their work on both of these allocations. Between round one and round two, we are bringing water or sewer services to an estimated 4,255 homes for the first time ever. And we're improving service for another 88,000 homes. I've gotten to see this firsthand. The very first award that we did was in Morton's Gap. That's in Hopkins County. It's actually a town a little bit smaller than Dawson. And there are a number of individuals, but I have two that might be my favorite, Ruth Baglin and June Vandiver, who have lived there for more than 60 years, never with reliable drinking water. They would haul it from Dawson and fill up this big tank that is in between the homes that kind of live in the area. Ruth and June have been working on this for almost 10 years. And to be able to be there and to see them turn on the faucet, even have a drink of water with them, is really special. It shows you that, through government, we can do really important things. That's the mayor as well. We can do really important things that improve people's lives. All right, just over a year ago, I announced an exciting new pilot project in Louisville called Everybody Counts. Through this initiative, every Jefferson County public school graduate has a chance to either secure dollars they need for higher education through Evolve 502, or to get a job at one of last year 4 partner companies, which also have a path to post-secondary education if that individual later chooses to go in that direction. It's not about picking that young person's path. It's about letting them know which paths are there and ensuring that they have picked one. So after graduation, they can be secure in either higher ed or in a good paying job. In its first year, about 1,150 JCPS graduating seniors were placed in jobs with UPS, Ford Motor Company, GE Appliances, and Kroger. And many of these students were also enrolled in post-secondary education at the same time. UPS certainly has a great program for that, amongst others. Today, I'm excited to announce that Everybody Counts will double its number of business partners in Jefferson County by welcoming the Center for Healthcare Workforce Innovation, CSX Transportation, Southpaw, and Wirecrafters. And in addition to the growing list of Jefferson County business partners, Everybody Counts has a vast number of nonprofit, education, and community partners that include Evolve 502, which, working with this program, helped more students than ever before. They are an incredible organization doing great work. Also, the Kentucky Higher Education Assistance Authority, the Louisville Urban League, where our very first head of Everybody Counts just went to be the new head of the Urban League. Simmons College, Jefferson Community and Technical College, and Kentuckiana Works College Access Center. These are critical partners that provide transportation support and scholarships, as well as assistance completing or submitting the free application for federal student aid, FAFSA. We've seen when we can get students to fill that out, it opens up their eyes about what is possible. I'm thrilled with the success that Jefferson County has had with Everybody Counts, and we want to continue its momentum. We have a lot more work to do, but the concept is something that we should all be able to get behind. Every graduating senior in Jefferson County and everywhere else, with the number of jobs we have right now, we should work towards a day when we place all of them either in higher ed or we have them locked in a job with a start date before they graduate, so nobody falls through the cracks, and then everybody can see that there is opportunity for a better life, a future, that there can be hope. No matter where you're from, there is a chance. So today, I'm excited to say that Everybody Counts is not only growing in Jefferson County, but we're announcing our first expansion counties. We're expanding to Fayette, Franklin, Scott, and Shelby counties. And Everybody Counts is actively recruiting graduating seniors, businesses, and post-secondary and community partners in all 5 of those counties. So if you're a graduating senior in Fayette, Franklin, Jefferson, Scott, or Shelby counties interested in learning more about the career and educational opportunities that Everybody Counts offers, or if you represent a business or a post-secondary or community group interested in being one of our partners, you can go to governor.ky.gov/everybody-counts or email everybodycountsky@ky.gov. Really exciting project that I think is really a step in the right direction on workforce. These are some of our healthiest potential workers. We can't have anyone fall through the cracks with the number of jobs that we have right now. And what a great goal to strive for, right? Every graduating high school senior having a path. I think that's something that we should all be able to get behind. And I want to thank the General Assembly for providing some extra funding in the last budget to this program. We can't wait to expand it more and elsewhere. All right, yesterday we also got some great news from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. They've confirmed that nearly $8 million additional dollars has been released to Kentucky for the LIHEAP program. That is the Low Income Home Energy Assistance Program. This brings our total funding awards for this essential program to almost $89 million. These dollars will directly help eligible families in need. This is a program that helps folks be able to pay to heat their homes when it's cold, or cool their homes when it's hot, and help with their energy bills. And it especially helps a lot of struggling seniors that are out there. It's administered by the Cabinet for Health and Family Services in partnership with our wonderful community action agencies. The program's already helped 150,000 Kentucky families. Applications remain open through March 31st or until funds run out. Applications are on a first-come, first-serve for people earning up to 130% of the poverty guidelines. Payments from the program go directly to 6 utility companies that take part in the program. To find out if your utility company is taking part, or to locate your Community Action Council, which can provide a lot of other forms of help, the number to call is 800-456-3452. Let's move to our regular update on recovery from the flooding in Eastern Kentucky. To date, the Commonwealth Sheltering Program has 189 households in Eastern Kentucky that remain in 194 travel trailers provided through the program. 185 trailers are occupied at 9 commercial sites, with 9 on private sites. Now, there's something on this chart that I think is pretty neat. Now, when we got to the point where we had no one on the waiting list, it was a special moment. But what we saw in the West is demand will crest. But really, when you see people getting back on their feet, the indication in this chart is the households transitioned out. We now have almost the same number of households transitioned out as we have current travel trailers occupied. These are people finding better, maybe not permanent, but certainly more permanent housing options, and that is good to see. We still have 4 people sheltering in 1 hotel and 16 people sheltering at state parks, down from 360, which was our high. FEMA has now approved $102.8 million in individual assistance grants. That's an increase of $1.1 million from last week. Since the last update, 10 additional applicants have received the max grant of $37,900, bringing the total housing assistance, just the max grants, to 683 households, $25.8 million. So I know I say this every week, but it's important. Keep pursuing your claim. $1 million each week is a lot of money for people that need that help, and people are finally, in some instances, not only being heard, but getting significant awards, sometimes the maximum under the program. If you need help, you can call FEMA directly, but our MARC centers, which you need to call to check the schedule before you go, because they now rotate. These are the places where working face-to-face with state resources, and we continue to provide this from the state. This is how people are improving their claims, and one of the reasons that they are ultimately getting these dollars. And some other good news. We continue to see approvals come from the Property Acquisition Program. That's what we call the FEMA buyout program. I will say that while we've had some challenges with FEMA, and I've had the opportunity to convey those and other concerns, but also things that I thought were done well directly to the White House. They reached out and said, tell us things that we do well and things that we need to do better. And I appreciated the opportunity to give that feedback. One of the things they are doing in Eastern Kentucky faster than ever in history is the buyout program. Typically, it would take a year minimum before the program would kick in. This is the fastest it's ever been done. So as of this week, we have over $16.9 million of awards approved from the buyout program. That's an increase of $4.3 million since we last updated it on March the 2nd. 93 properties have been approved. from Perry County, the city of Jackson, Breathitt County, Letcher County, and Knott County applicants. And as a reminder, this is a program where, especially if you are in a flood zone, FEMA will purchase your property to help provide those dollars to help you move to a safer location. And it's also really important that people know about this program, because if you're in a flood zone and you flooded this time and you get individual assistance, you will most likely not be eligible for it in the future. If there is another flooding event and individual assistance is available, I've met some families that fall into that got FEMA assistance in the past and wanted to stay. And you got to respect that decision if that's been in their family for a long time, but it needs to be really clear to folks that this could be a consequence of that ultimate decision. In safe funds, we have a lot of additional awards today. City of Boonville is set to receive over $52,780 to fund a FEMA public assistance project match. Breathitt County Fiscal Court's been approved for $3 million to alleviate fiscal strain. Breathitt County School Districts has been approved for $1.8 million to alleviate fiscal strain. Clay County Fiscal Court has been approved for $300,000 to alleviate fiscal strain, as well as $371,314 for a FEMA match. City of Hazard, $897,000 to fund a FEMA match. Owsley County Fiscal Court, $400,000 for fiscal strain, and then $46,743 for a FEMA match. Perry County Fiscal Court, $2.8 million to fund a match. Kentucky Emergency Management has been approved $10 million to cover the cost of private property debris removal in Knott, Letcher, Pike, and Perry counties. This is part of an announcement I'm going to make in a minute, but I think everybody's figured that out. We're moving from public property debris removal to this program, which is going to help get it off private property. It's the next big step, one that people have been waiting for, and we're excited to announce the funding for it today. The Kentucky Infrastructure Authority has been approved for $2.8 million for water and wastewater services to the Olive Branch subdivision. That was the first high ground community that we announced. This is going to help us start getting the infrastructure there so we can start building some homes. That it's going to be done by the Knott County Water and Sewer District. And in Western Kentucky, Bowling Green Municipal Utilities has been approved to receive $26,606 to bridge a funding gap for a fiber system installation project. That's from the Western Kentucky Safe Fund. Continue to make improvements on the bridge side. 35 bridges have been replaced. Repairs on 22. Contractors have installed 42 temporary crossings. Yesterday, we celebrated the opening of a brand new state bridge in Pike County, which I'm going to visit next week, I think Tuesday. The bridge along, do we have a photo? All right, I'll bring back photos. The bridge along Kentucky 610 in Pike County replaced the former structure destroyed in the July floods. So residents there have had a really long detour with that bridge being out. A more direct path saves them time, lets them spend more time with their relatives and families, and get places quicker. And these bridges we are building back, they give me hope. When we talk about building resiliently, I have stood on top of a new bridge in an area that was previously washed out that will be able to withstand, we think, anything that Mother Nature throws at it. That's how we have to build back for the people of Eastern Kentucky. All right, debris. A contract is in place to move forward on the next phase of debris removal. While significant progress has been made over the last 8 months to collect debris outside homes and inside streams, we know there is still debris on private property that couldn't be moved to the side of the road for pickup. The next phase of the private property debris removal, or PPDR, will build on contractor activities to restore safe and sound communities. More details on eligibility criteria will be released very soon and will be available on our Eastern Kentucky Flood Resources website. But still, to begin the process, property owners must contact their fiscal courts if they have flood-related debris that needs to be collected. If you have some of this debris on your property and you want to be a part of this program where if you meet certain criteria, we'll come pick it up for you, you have to contact your fiscal court. Someone representing the county is then going to come to your site and assess whether the debris is eligible for the program. We have nearly 200 properties in 4 counties that have requested assistance already. We expect pickups to begin as soon as next week. So thank you to Kentucky Emergency Management, the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet, and Ashbrit for their work to improve public health and safety. Finally, I wanted to, second to last, we recently announced that the state has secured land for 2 high ground facilities, Olive Branch in Knott County and Skyview in Perry County, with additional properties being considered. I get an update weekly on this. The vision for these properties includes much needed homes, but also vibrant communities, perhaps schools, mixed use residential options, civic and community facilities. I hope healthcare access of some form on each of them. So to help bring this vision to life, we announced this last week. Well, I couldn't, my voice wasn't holding out, but Colonel Slinker did. It was a request for proposal, an RFP for program management expertise. Listen, Eastern Kentucky deserves the very best, and I've never developed a community, and neither have most of the people that are working on this project. So we want to make sure that we are getting the very best expertise, so Eastern Kentucky gets the very best communities. The successful bidder will provide program management services for these community development projects, from master planning through complete site development for all locations. Proposals from interested parties are due by 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time on March the 24th. You can learn more about this RFP on the Finance and Administration Cabinet website. Finally, in good news, this week, the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development announced an overhaul of the agency's disaster recovery efforts to better serve communities who face the direct impacts of weather-related disasters. HUD Secretary Marcia Fudge made the announcement yesterday in Jackson, Kentucky, just as Kentucky is set to receive $300 million in community development block grant disaster recovery. This was something that I know a lot of people worked on. This administration worked really hard on it. When original legislation was being considered and filed, it only really was tailored towards Florida and the hurricanes. And we went to work to make sure that Eastern Kentucky got a portion of this too. In the end, securing $300 million additional dollars to help with housing is a big win. Now, I've talked with HUD Secretary Fudge, who was very receptive. Currently, it takes way too long to get what they call CDBG-DR, Community Development Block Grant Disaster Recovery dollars out. We're not deploying them in the West yet after the tornadoes. And I was very clear that in rebuilding Eastern Kentucky, we can't wait that long. I believe that they are going back and looking at everything that they can do. And I do feel a sincere commitment to trying to get these dollars out earlier. I think there is a recognition that while these dollars are supposed to come closer to the end than the beginning, they've got to get out, faster. Next, we have some great news for our farmers affected by the December 2021 tornadoes. These are farmers that we helped out through a program through the Team Western Kentucky Tornado Relief Fund, because the Mayfield Granary had been destroyed, and it helped these farmers to defray some of the additional costs of the extra transportation to get their crops where they need to go. Well, last week, the United States Department of Agriculture announced that farmers affected by the storms can apply for cost share assistance through the Emergency Grain Storage Facility Assistance Program. This will allow financial assistance to farmers who are still recovering and have those extra costs because of the lack of the granary. To apply, stop by your local Farm Service Agency office. You have until December 29th to apply. For more information, visit fsa.usda.gov. And finally, our Team Kentucky All-Stars come from this morning's 55th annual prayer breakfast. It is really special when you think about us coming together as a Commonwealth, people of all parties and backgrounds, for an event like this. You know, prayer brings us together. It brings us hope. It brings us comfort, and it inspires us. And I can truly say I left this morning's event energized and inspired And that's thanks to some really impressive folks that made it special for everyone who was there. First, we're grateful to have Walker Montgomery share his musical talents through several moving performances. This is a guy whose star is on the rise in the country music world. Lucky to call him a friend for the past year or more. He did an incredible job. And then we were able to hear from Super Chef Darnell Ferguson, known by many just by Super Chef. I told him I wanted to figure out how to be known as Super Governor. I think it's going to take some extra work. He was our keynote speaker. His journey is remarkable. He's faced challenges, but in each case he credits his faith with overcoming. He gave moving testimony today about opportunity and then how he now uses what he's been blessed with to try to help others out. Really incredible guy. And he stayed around after to go talk to all the Challenge Academy young folks that were there. I mean, a guy who's got the top show on the Food Network easily could have spent just the amount of time that we'd asked in the beginning. He stayed and took pictures with everybody. He went to talk, to inspire those kids. This is a Louisville resident, and we are really lucky to call Darnell, or Super Chef, a Kentuckian. And finally, we honored the Russo Volunteer Fire Department of Breathitt County, which received the William Cooper Faith and Community in Action Award. This is an award named after the founder of this breakfast, and there's no more deserving group than these firefighters. These team of heroes, volunteer heroes, have been helping our families in Eastern Kentucky affected by the flooding. They've delivered more than 5,000 meals. They provided school supplies, clothes, and more. They even have a facility they opened up that is still collecting these donations and getting them to people in need. Needless to say, an amazing way to start a day. Something I think I needed in the middle of this legislative session that we are living through. So to Walker, Darnell, and the entire team of the Russo Volunteer Fire Department, thank you for inspiring us. All right, we will now open it up to questions. We have some journalists that are here and one on the line. We'll start with Tom Latek.
All right, thank you, Governor. You can give anything on no update on the windstorm. If there's something on that, you could pass that along. And also, I noticed that I know that you're in favor of expanded gaming, and I'm sure if the bill to the sports wagering passes, you'll probably sign it. But you also signed the bill to ban gray machines. I wonder if you could kind of explain the difference.
Sure. So I am a pro gaming governor. I think it's time we have full-blown casino gaming in Kentucky. But it's an industry that absolutely has to be regulated, and it needs to be legal. And that's the way that we use funding from the system to do good in different parts of Kentucky. But it's also the way that we ensure that any ills that come along with it have a system and a network to help folks that may need that help. So I will certainly sign sports betting if it gets to me. I want to be very clear about that. It's something that I have pushed for years, and I believe it is very close to having the votes that it needs. And I believe that this is something that Kentuckians overwhelmingly want. I did sign a bill this morning to ban what are called gray machines. And the reason is they're entirely unregulated. I don't believe that they were legal, yet they came into Kentucky and just set up. And we're taking dollars from Kentuckians and taking them out of state with zero regulation, zero taxation, zero system to help those that might develop any issues from using them or gaming or gambling. I want to look at ways that we can have more better regulated gaming, but the law is the law. They were unregulated. I think that they were unlawful. Now, I understand that there are a lot of businesses out there that this provided another revenue stream for, and I want them to know that I'm sympathetic for them. I always fall back on the rule of the law and what's legal or not. But my hope is in the future, whether that's additional lottery offerings or others, that we can do some things to replace some of those revenue and give people options if they want to use their entertainment dollars in this way that also benefits the Commonwealth and that small business owner. Windstorm, we didn't give an update on because power is now at normal levels. You have outages every day. Without any of these, we're now back to normal levels. Karen Czar.
Governor, this one's a little personal for me. I've made it no secret. I've done stories on the air for my recent need for medical marijuana.
Yeah.
Because of your executive order, I was able to go get it, which is why I'm able to be back in the field now. The bill is closer now to getting passed than it ever has been before. Have you had conversations with lawmakers? Do you think the executive order made a difference? What is different this year?
Oh, Karen, we're glad you're back.
Thank you.
And we're glad you're getting the relief that you need. And to me, you and everyone else in your position is why I signed the executive order and what makes it worth it. Not about politics, not about any of the rest, but about our people who deserve the help they need. Now, the executive order is imperfect, right? It's still very challenging, even if you fully qualify under it, to secure what you need. And because of that, I am always going to back a statutory medical marijuana framework whereby people won't have to drive to other states to secure medical marijuana. It, I believe, has a number of votes in the Senate. I don't have a count or know whether indeed it will move forward. It's certainly something I would encourage all of our representatives and senators to vote for. And even if they have to pick it up on the last couple days, I'd encourage them to move forward with it. The bill itself, I would like to see some changes to. There aren't enough conditions in it that people may be suffering from that need the assistance of medical marijuana, but I will take a start. And certainly it is a start. It got a hearing. It got out of committee. That's never happened in the Senate, but I don't really believe in wins like that. I mean, people who need this need it now. And so I really hope that they will push it through. And even though I believe the bill is imperfect, I would sign it. It is a step in the right direction. Sarah Ladd.
Yeah, there's a large debate in the legislature right now about Kentucky's transgender youth and what limitations, if any, the government should place on their ability to transition while they're minors. To what extent do you think transgender youth should be able to transition? What if any?
Well, I believe the medical decisions for all of our youth, including our transgender youth, ought to be made by their families. That this is something that parents talking to their children should be making and not big government stepping in and imposing its will. I also believe that every child is a child of God, every single one. And these are bills that are going to make a lot of those children of God hurt. And we've seen through the research and all the statements from the American Medical Association and the rest that bills like this cause increased suicide in our youth. We should not be passing any bill that would do that. And let me finally say, I mean, we owe it to Karen Berg not to be doing this session. Listen, I know Karen, and she lost her son, and she lost her son for this very reason. And whether it's being a work colleague or a friend, I wish everybody would respect her and her loss enough not to be doing this either at all or during this session. All right. You have any?
Yes, sir. So, let's see here. So out of all the bills that you're likely to veto this time around, can you go into detail on specifically Senate Bill 5, House Bill 3, and House Bill 470?
So again, many of those haven't made their way to us. All of them are not necessarily final. I'm going to review anything that comes to my desk before making a decision on either signing it or vetoing it, or choosing not to sign it, but not to veto it. On the line, we have Olivia Evans.
Hello, Governor. I have one question here about House Bill 153, the federal gun bill. Just curious, how do you feel about this bill, and do you plan on vetoing it?
I'll have to look at that bill. That's the federal regulations. Well, I would say it's going to have a really tough time in court. We've seen that all over the country that federal preemption is a pretty powerful doctrine that's out there under the law. All right. Thank you all very much.